Hi, welcome to my channel. Today's topic of conversation, your self-concept, two ways, so two parts of your self-concept. So how you can have a great self-concept and still not be seeing those things show up in your reality and people showing up how you want to, but feeling all of these great things about yourself, how that's still possible for you not to see things, and why, the reason why this is happening based on your self-concept being good. And then when your self-concept isn't so good, we're going to talk about that as well. But let's first of all just address this issue. I have spoken about this before, but this is a bit more in depth. I think I've just mentioned it on other videos. Now, you can think great things about yourself. You can think you're attractive, you can think you're clever, you can think you're funny, smart, good at this, good at that. You literally do believe that stuff about yourself. You think about it, you sit there quietly and you think, what do I really think? No, I do think all of this. Okay, so why isn't this person showing up in my life, these opportunities showing up, this money showing up? Why are these things not showing up for me if I feel all this stuff about myself? First of all, a good self-concept is not a tool to manifest with. I mean, it helps, but it isn't like, oh, I've got a good self-concept, so everything else should fall into place now. That is not the case at all. The main thing that you'll probably notice when we talk about this, so you think there's good things about yourself, maybe you don't, but if you don't, we're going to go into that after. I'm going to address both things here. You don't think that other people recognize it. So you may not even know that you feel this. I mean, like I said, I have made a video, I have spoken about this briefly in other videos, so you might have heard me say this before, but I want to go a bit more in depth about it. So you are not openly thinking the words to yourself, but now you think about it and you feel it and you feel, yeah, I do feel that other people aren't recognizing it. Why aren't people recognizing it? I feel this, but people aren't seeing me. People aren't seeing my worth. People aren't getting on board with how I feel about myself. So how is that possible? Right, the only reason that you're feeling like that is a need for validation, because otherwise you wouldn't care. If you had a great self-concept but you never cared about validation, or you don't anymore care about validation, you would not be looking to see what other people think of you, and you would not be thinking they didn't think that, because it wouldn't bother you. So they wouldn't be like that. They would be acting differently towards you. You'd be getting all of the validation without needing it. But when you need it, you don't see it. So yes, you think all those great things about yourself, but you don't think other people can see it. The only reason you don't think they can is because you need their validation in some way. You just need it, whichever way that is. Maybe it goes back to childhood. I don't think that it's really handy to really delve too deep into these things. Really, you just don't want it anymore, do you? If you start going back too much into where it came from, I do like to find a point where things came from, and then I like to heal it at that point, just to make a statement, I heal. So you're healing that version of yourself back when you think it kicked off. But sometimes we don't know how it kicks off, but we just want to deal with it now. If you talk about bad things too much, talk about the same thing over and over and over, and in the moment, it makes you feel better because you get things off your chest and it feels good in that moment. But I mean, this is an opinion thing, and I am not a medical expert, but I truly believe, I mean, I've got friends that have had like couples therapy and that kind of thing. It hasn't worked for them, because what's happened is they've gone back to those moments that they were unhappy about and that's kind of messed up their marriage, and they're dwelling in it. So they're talking about it with a therapist over and over and over. So they come away thinking about it a lot, feeling it again, kicking off that energy again, so reinfecting themselves with the energy. So talking is good. Talking is definitely good, and talking has helped me hugely when I was suffering with anxiety back in the day, and I don't think anybody else ever suffered with it apart from me. It's a long time ago, and then I found out different. It's definitely good, but it has its value and it has its place. But if you go on and on and on and on and on doing it, then I think you're constantly living in the energy of it. So there comes a point where you have to say, okay, now I got to work at the next part. There has to be another phase. I can't be stuck in phase one all the time. You know, just bear that in mind. The more you talk about something, if you're resolving it, then that's different, isn't it? If you're talking about it and you're coming up with a resolution to it, that's different. But if you're just talking about it, how many times can you talk about it? Is it making you feel better? Is it just making you feel better in the moment, or is it making you feel better when you get home and you're living the rest of the week? Is it kind of gone from you then and you think, what a huge relief, I feel so much better now, I feel really great? Is it doing that? If it's leaving you with that energetic value of it, then just kind of think about what the next steps are. What's the next step you can take after this? It's not fun needing validation, is it? It really isn't. And you don't always know that you need it. So have a real think about this. If that is the case and you're thinking other people don't recognize it, now let's take it back to logic, okay? You think those things about yourself and you're not deluded. And even if you are, that doesn't matter either. But what I mean is you're a reasonable human being and you can see your own flaws and you can see your own strengths and talents. Well, that's all that matters. If you feel that about yourself, it doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. At this moment in time, all it matters is what you think. You've got to bring it back to you and just focus on what you think. You validate yourself. You tell yourself how great you are. Continue to tell yourself that and feel good about yourself. And then once you do that and think, do you know what? Why do I need these people to think and feel these things about me? If I just keep bringing it back to me and kind of disregard what they think for now, that will all show to me anyway. And I don't need to work at getting other people to feel a certain way about me, because then what I'm doing is going, well, you're worth more. So your validation is worth more than my validation. You've got to really look at it and really have a word with yourself. Okay, right, secondly, now you don't feel these things about yourself. Mostly you feel the negative. You feel like you're not worthy, you don't deserve, people overlook you, you never get what you want. What is it about you that means you don't get love and all of that? That's a very negative self-concept. So it is a self-concept, but it's a negative one. And it's completely out of line with the life that you want. And if you feel that about yourself, you will see reality reflecting back to you, showing you, yes, you are right, this is you. But it's only doing that based on your feelings. It's not actually real. It's really not real. So the best thing that you can do is look at the origins of it first, like I said, and then just go back and heal that if you know where the origins are. If you don't, go heal it now. I heal this. So you'd set an intention like this. I would start with a better self-concept. If you go, I want an amazing self-concept, your mind is going to go, it's not going to accept it, and you're going to be battling. So you don't want to battle. So you want a better self-concept. So you start with, look at the things that are really getting you down about what you think about yourself, that are really bothering you and you feel like are impacting your life, and deal with, say, one or two first. Say, I'm going to leave the rest, but I'm going to deal with those things that are really impacting me. How do I feel about myself that's really negative? What would I like to feel next? Okay, so that's good. That might be huge, but don't worry about that. It doesn't matter if you get a huge gap. We're not going to go there, but you're just going to say how you would like to feel. So that's your intention. And then you're going, where's the middle ground? What is the middle ground between how I feel now and how I want to feel? Right, I'm going to go for that. Because then your brain will go, okay, so you're not doing anything too huge. I can probably get on board with that, which is what you want. You want a little bit of harmony, or as much harmony as possible between your rational mind and your subconscious. If you didn't care at all and you go, yeah, that's what I want and that's what I'm going for, and I don't want to go with the middle ground, that's what I'm going to do, that's great too. But in a lot of cases, we can't do that. So I could do that now. I don't have a problem with my self-concept at all now. And I didn't when I was younger. I just got older, and I did when I sort of hit 40. I started to really not. It wasn't great actually, and I really can't pinpoint where that came from. Maybe it was just hitting 40. I don't know. But anyway, I know I have a really good self-concept now, and I have worked at that. But actually, and I did kind of go to the middle ground, I guess, and then up to that. But I did set that intention of what I really wanted. And that's key to do that. There's nothing wrong with setting a really big intention, but then telling yourself, but I'm going to go for the middle ground first. Let's just go in little baby steps, because your brain will accept that. And then you start from that point and you go, what are you going to do? You're going to say some affirmations. A really great thing to do is use I love affirmations, but start doing them with the things you do love in your life that you can see reflected back to you at the moment. What is that? Like maybe it's your family, your friends, TV shows, even books that you're reading. What do you like doing? I love doing that. That really starts to lift your vibration. Then start mixing them with stuff that isn't happening at the moment. So just chuck in the odd one. So with your self-concept, I love feeling better about myself. I love that I've managed to heal this aspect of my personality. I love that I am now succeeding at this, succeeding at that. I love that I'm changing the perspective. I'm changing my perspective on how I feel about myself, about this particular trait. Mix those in first, start doing that. They're much easier than I am, much easier, much less resistance there. But again, you can use I am if I ams feel good too. Start with that. You can use subliminals, you can use meditations, they're all really useful, anything like that. Because if you use something like that, just imagine, I prefer a subliminal personally because I don't want to hear the words, because I don't want any resistance. And if I can't hear the words, then it doesn't matter. You know, when I do subliminals, and I do sell subliminals on my website, but I will put a list of affirmations there because I want you guys to know what's being said in there, but then you can't hear it at the time, so you don't know which words are coming when, but you get when you can see the statements, I feel you have an overall feel then of that subliminal, as well as the subliminal, you get the vibration, the whole vibratory version of it. That sounds really weird, but the whole, so the energy of it, you're kind of feeling it. So a good way to explain this is when you switch off the subliminal and you're doing something else and then you thought about the subliminal, you would get a feeling of it. And that feeling of it is based on those phrases that you know are in there. I hope that made sense. It makes total sense to me, but hey. Okay, so you can use things like that. You can start writing a story. You could start writing a story about you. So how you are now and how you managed to improve your self-concept, how it didn't take you that long and how you're so amazed, and that you could be writing it to future you, saying thank you, or you could write it from future you to this you, or you could just write it. It doesn't have to be done like that. Number of things that you can do. I'm going to have to go because it's starting to rain out here and it's going to get really noisy in a minute. But I really hope that this was useful. You can do this. You can change anything. Anything in the 3D, you can change anything you can change anything in the 4D, then anything in the 3D will change. But actually self-concept is the best one to work at, because when you feel good about yourself without the need for validation, you just really believe anything is possible. You believe in yourself. You believe that you know that if you are thinking that you want these things, then you are capable of getting them. Right, I really hope this was useful. I'm an author and I am a coach.